therefore, NEAF has decided to create this panel. It's a panel of outstanding people, and you are in for a treat. Our format is simple. They will each come to this microphone and speak for a short time. We have a lot of people, 6 people, so I'll try to keep the program going so everyone gets a chance to speak. And then after that, there are some questions that have been prepared that I will ask the panel, and then after that, there'll be questions from the audience. So I will introduce the speakers one at a time, just to save a little bit of time. Now, our first speaker is Dr. Camille Paglia. For those of you that know her, know that she has an electric mentality. She is an extraordinary scholar and cultural critic, university professor and professor of the humanities and media studies at the University of the Arts in Philadelphia, where she's taught since 1984. She earned her PhD from Yale and is a best-selling author of 4 books, including the widely respected Sexual Personae, Art and Decadence from Nefertiti to Emily Dickinson, which if you haven't seen it, buy it. It's just an amazing intellectual tour de force in which he takes a mega trend through history with several thousand micro trends, and when you read it, you'll know everything. Professor Paglia has been a columnist with the online magazine Salon since its inaugural issue in 1995. She's written innumerable articles on art, literature, popular culture, feminism, and politics. She's lectured, appeared on television and radio extensively in the United States and abroad. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Camille Paglia.
Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. I just have to say that I too never took seriously the complaints of some Italian groups about the proliferation of mafia stereotypes in the media, because I am a great admirer of Mario Puzo's work and think that the first two Godfather films, 1972, 1974, are masterpieces and in fact do represent a tremendous range of Italian-American personalities and mannerisms, and the dignity of the Italian-American man is well shown in those films, and the brilliant performances by Marlon Brando and Robert De Niro as the older and younger Godfather. I even had the pleasure of meeting Mario Puzo when I did a profile of him for the New York Times and made a pilgrimage to his house on Long Island. So it's not the mafia part of The Sopranos that I detest, but rather the way the show shows Italian Americans as vulgar buffoons who don't know how to eat, who are stupid and graceless. And this show so infuriated me when I first tried to watch it that I joined this organization as a protest, and I have become I've become absolutely militant on this question. I think Italian Americans need to go to war on this question. The culture that brought you the Italian Renaissance, the culture that has so many brilliant figures in the arts and sciences and intellect, goes all the way back to ancient Mediterranean culture with all of its complexity. The way The Sopranos has now become the sole point of information for a younger generation who has the worst possible education. Education has become a PC vacuum where on both the primary and secondary level, where the Western tradition and great art and literature have been removed. So what exactly are young people seeing but this hideous and vulgar show? I have been teaching in Philadelphia now for 17 years. My university, the University of the Arts, is located on South Broad Street. I must go through South Philadelphia, which is like an Italian city unto itself, every day when I go to work. And I'm telling you from my observation of working class Italian life in Philadelphia, in southeastern Pennsylvania, and in New Jersey, that The Sopranos is a piece of crap in terms of its representation of ethnic life and also working class life. What disgusts me about that show, and disgusts me about David Chase, shame, vergogna to David Chase, vergogna, for what he has done with this show, is his failure, his passivity in terms of accurate representation of the fascinating multi-class level of Pennsylvania and New Jersey life. There are all kinds of gradations, from the working class to upper working class to lower middle class to middle class to upper middle class and so on. This This could have been a major, major show had David Chase taken the time to try to show the fullness of Italian-American culture and not just this now 30-year-old stereotype. People who say, oh, this is very accurate. Excuse me, David Chase left New Jersey 30 years ago. I don't think he saw things accurately even then, all right? But it's 30 years out of date, even at on the best possible level. If The Sopranos were, in fact, supposed to take place in a period 30 years ago, then I might say, okay, it's a kind of caricature of that period. But the whole thing is artistically a mishmash. As a professor of media studies, it is very low quality in terms of its observation of that area. I don't know why New Jersey hasn't brought suit against the show. The way New Jersey is being shown, people in Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa are watching this show and thinking that's New Jersey. I fear they'll probably have to take a plane over New Jersey to get from Manhattan to Philadelphia if they ever visit here. But I feel that it's the responsibility now of Italian Americans to speak out, especially those like my own family who in fact were not urban. Okay, we came from the small towns in Italy. My mother was born in Italy. All four of my grandparents were, and we are the product of the countryside. The countryside. We did not. My family came over en masse to work in the Endicott Johnson shoe factories in upstate New York. We're not part of metropolitan New York. I'm sick and tired of the way that media, of the way television and movies continue to focus in on particular sort of psychopathology of degenerate urban or metropolitan life and ignore the great masses of us out there, okay, who are products of the village, who have very strict ethics, very strong family life. Well, I can see this is going to turn into an absolute rant. I will take the entire audience prisoner. And we must allow the other panelists to speak, but those are my views.